creating cosmos out of chaos.
You guys look good though, I have to say. Like you just look like you're refreshed, you know, even though there's a lot going on. Like you look
like
nice.
a lot going on here, a lot going on every day.
Every day, you know, with everything you deal with, the responsibility that you carry, like you guys look good. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
What's the secret?
He looks so much younger with his hairdo, doesn't he?
That's what you said when I came.
Keep saying that. I know.
Thank you. You make it second time of the day. Like one more and I'm going to be in bliss.
That's what Mark's mom says too, actually, all the time.
Goodness.
As soon as he cut his hair, she's like, "Thank you. You look so much younger."
It got to a point of almost contention.
Yeah.
Where like she would have these moments on every phone call. And it would be like,
"Are you gonna cut your hair?
Tell me about your hair." Because it was kind of out of control. I get it. Like she's my mom. She's allowed. But I had only so much patience till I was like, "Mom, this conversation has to stop." And then when I cut it, she cried. That's how much it meant to her.
Seriously, I can't believe that.
Are you the only boy?
I'm the only boy.
Okay.
But did you cut it for you or did you cut it a little bit for her?
It was 50-50.
Okay.
It was for I cut it on my birthday. And so it's like a birthday, like refreshing. Like I really like on birthdays to do significant things because I feel like it's a cyclical day. It's a day that like we can decide new things and new chapters. And so she was coming for my birthday, which was so beautiful. We were actually in Canada for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And her and my dad, who haven't really spent more than, a wedding amount of time in the same room. They both came for my birthday. And so I cut my hair for her. I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful. Good.
I don't know. But enough about me. What's your guys' secret? You guys look great. What's happening here?
She's young. I have no secret. That's what this no, we're just
I think it's like you're following your passion. It's hard work, but it's what's driving you. You're doing everything you're doing is with intention. It's for a reason.
it just never stops. I mean, and it's, I always think, okay, I'm going to find a way that I could just take this morning off. I want to read this book, read for an hour, and I can't stop because there's just so much more to do. And
also, Vicky's idea of taking a morning off is cleaning her house. Vicki, that is not taking a morning off.
Yes, when you live in a very small one-room house, it's that's a big deal. So,
do you live on the property here?
Right here, and that's
your house here.
This one big room.
That's amazing.
And then you have all the volunteers walking by.
Yeah.
Well, and it doesn't stop. I mean, that's what's really interesting, right? Mm-hmm. So, I'm curious about is there a fatigue? In the world, people talk a lot about the phrase
compassion fatigue.
Yeah. I haven't heard that one.
Which is sort of.
I could probably have some of that.
Yeah. Is it?
I don't know.
But you seem to handle it very well. I think compassion fatigue makes people check out of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Their heart just detaches from that which needs attention.
Yeah. Right? I can see people doing that too. I know people who have done that. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it was growing up in the country and being free to go build cabins in the woods and it was just so entrenched in nature all the time. I mean, lived on top of a hill. It was in 4 seasons and there was snow, so there was ice skating and sled riding and, there were beautiful vegetable gardens and, I had a little cabin, a little playhouse, and I was able to fix it up into like a little, cabin with little makeshift beds and got a piece of foam and was able to sleep out all night. So it just reminds me so much of now because I have screens on my window and I hear everything. It's so alive. And when I go back to visit some family and it's all air conditioned and I don't hear the cicadas. I don't hear the crickets. I don't hear the birds. I don't hear the howlers. And of course not, but I don't hear anything else. And it's like I just feel so fortunate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it makes me want to cry. I know I cry easy. No, but I feel so, just so lucky to be able to experience that. And when you think that I don't want to, I'm saddened by people losing the connection to the earth, and So I just know that I was able to experience that, and I wasn't on a phone all the time, and I wasn't connected to an iPad and a little game thing. You know, I was out discovering and building and planting. And
where was this?
Like Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, okay.
In the country, and that was great. I mean, I'm sure I missed a lot of the, you know, I still went to college. It was okay. And I loved college and I loved learning and continued to do that for many, 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 many years. And that was fascinating. But I didn't come from, you know, my family was, you know, my dad made like $25,000 a year.
Right.
You know, it was, but he always provided. It was clean. It was good food. And it was a nice house. And, you know, it was just wonderful. You know, I'm thankful for that.
So connection to source, like to earth.
Absolutely.
That's, you think that's sort of
and
what centers you in all of this?
I think it is. It's why I go back, and I just kind of want to be on this. I am on a like a neutral level in a sense. It doesn't mean that I don't get sad or angry, but it's always on this level. I don't go to one extreme or the other. And it's because I guess, who's going to come and do this?
Right.
Who's going to be the next person to, because this is it is my life. And I can't expect anybody young. They've got their lives. And I had that opportunity. You know, I had a family and an absolutely beautiful daughter who has a family. And so I was able to experience that whole, you know, the thing that our hormones are built for, you know, put us in charge of us. But so now I can dedicate my life to this. And once I saw it happening, but I didn't come here for this. You know that. I didn't.
Really? What brought you to Costa Rica?
We came to Costa Rica because of this. We had lived in Florida. We'd moved from Maui and went to Florida, liked the warm weather. And daughter went to college. And so it was, you know, let's go explore this beautiful jungle area, and had surf and beautiful beaches. And it was warm. And
that was a long time ago, though, right?
That was, we started looking about 25 years ago. And then finally we moved full-time 22 years ago.
Wow.
In the first little, and never wasn't here for, you know, to do a sanctuary at all. And that wasn't my training. So I think, you know, I don't want to talk so much about me, but
no, please. I think it's important for people to know, like, what brought you here, you know?
Well, and then, you know, after being here just for 3 months, we invited a little local family, and our daughter had been here she came for a 2-week vacation during Christmas. And we said, you know, to the little boy, who was a couple years younger than our daughter, and he spoke English, which was really, really great. And they'd like to surf together. And I said, why don't you bring your mom and dad, and we'll have a little Christmas dinner. And they did. And he came with a Christmas present for her. Now, I just knew in the country.
What was the present?
A baby monkey with a red ribbon around its neck. I'm like, oh my gosh. What? I know.
A howler.
A baby howler. So, and in his mind, that was like, look what I have for you. I mean, it was like, he was so excited about that. It was special because we have different views of how, you know, wildlife, and how did he get it? I didn't think of that at the time. I was like, oh my gosh. And so this little monkey's with us, and she goes back to college. He goes, well, I could take it, but my dog killed the last one. I go, no, it's going to stay. And then, of course, you know, I met Brenda, and we started working together, and I found out about the electrocutions and how horrible all that was. And then more monkeys, more orphans were coming in, and had moved to an old house with a patio. And sweet Bobby Johnson, who was amazing. She was like the mother nature of Nosara, protecting trees and animals and everything. And she let me screen the patio in, and that started there. I just started taking in more wildlife.
Wow.
And then I couldn't release them in the same area, so started coming out here and looking for where was still pristine area. Yeah. And it had to be the same, you know, climate and same, you know, you don't want to ship them off. So that's how it started, and it continues. And it's just, there's every day you learn more. And
well, it's extremely interesting to me, because to be given a gift like that and understand it from the perception you did says that there's a connection, right? There's a connection to something not being necessarily, it could have been innate, or maybe it was already intellectually realized, but that's not a thing that we as humans should be doing. But so have you always had that connection with the relationship to animals?
I think so. I didn't have wildlife. We had little ducks, and and I think we even found like some little mice in the basement one time. We were trying to raise them, and no, we didn't. Dad didn't like that, but I just think being in nature and being able to observe nature and to feel relaxed in it.
Yeah.
I'd camp out and look at the stars and learn the constellations, and it was amazing to see the shooting stars and see the Milky Way and to learn all that. So maybe that's what, having had that experience, that fortunate experience of growing up like that, could be why I'm still able to deal with. There is a lot of stress. It is my life. It's 24/7. There's really no time that I don't think about everything that's going to go on. First, I wanted to thank you too. This is how I wanted to do. I wanted to thank you for this, not just this opportunity, but for your kindness too that you share. So I wanted to say that. But over the years, I mean, in the beginning, we were always, rescue and rehab and release, but now we've been transitioning. And of course, IAR's and so thankful that they're coming to help, and they've been here to help.
So who is it?
That's the International Animal Rescues here. And
so they've come to Nosara?
To help you.
They've taken over the Refuge for Wildlife.
Oh, okay.
They are officially the other sanctuary now.
So
Rescue Center.
they do the majority of the rescues.
They are the rescue.
They are the rescue.
And do they have a space as well, like yourself?
Not yet.
Not yet.
They're trying to.
They have a small space right now, and they're working on developing a larger one.
So thankful. I mean, there's got to be the next generation. There's got to be people coming, because after years and years of it, of the rescue and it seems like it was bad then as far as all the electrocutions, but we're on the precipice right now, I think, of urgency. We're seeing animals primates that are becoming endangered in this country. We're seeing ones that are becoming vulnerable, and the development has just skyrocketed, not just in Nosara. I mean, to look at Pilata and Guiones 22 years ago was a diamond in the rough. It was amazing. But I got lost the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, where's that landmark? I honestly got lost. Wow. And I felt, I don't know if it was my old age or I just hadn't been there, and I couldn't believe how much development.
Well, also, you rely on much more natural landmarks. Like you're like, that beautiful Guyana
tree.
Guanacaste.
And now it's just concrete blocks.
What a beautiful way to map things mentally. That's so fascinating.
Again, your connection to nature, right? Like you're just so
When I would tell people how to get here before Randy Moss was there, it was that beautiful little pasture. I'd say, yes, you're going to make a left at the Guanacaste. And the Guanacaste is still there, but the pasture field across the way is not there anymore. Wow. And so, I mean, it's been heartbreaking to see. And with this just explosion of development, it is displacing more and more wildlife, and we are seeing more electrocutions and hearing of it. And it is so important. Like, a lot of people are not aware. A long time ago, when I was on the ground floor of rescuing, I would write into the voice. It was called the Voice of Nosara, and I'd write a monthly report and start telling people, look, please, this is what's happening here. Please insulate. Say, if you get a power line or a transformer, please ask them to insulate. You're buying expensive property, you're building expensive homes. This is such a small
that's the thing. It's not hard, right, to just cover these transformers.
Can we just for the sake of the listener, let's start at what is the problem? Because we're referencing transformers and electrocution and development. It sounds like a human footprint issue, but it also has an extra level. It's almost like an irresponsible human footprint. So can you talk to that?
Yes, it is. It is irresponsible. And
so what is actually happening that's what is the problem here, really?
The government, there's so much energy that's produced in this country that is sustainable, and they should be very proud of that, but it's not being delivered sustainable. It's being delivered, all the electric's being delivered in power lines and transformers uninsulated, and that was never maybe even a thought or a priority. And all the arboreal animals, all the animals that live in the canopy, it's just not the primates, it's, the kinkajous, the tamanduas, everybody I call them, the pisotes, every animal, porcupines we've taken off of lines. And
so the animals are on the lines.
Because they're using it, right?
It's stemming from fragmentation of their natural environment. And that's kind of why we're talking about the development in the area, also adding to this issue, because houses are going up, trees are coming down, and more power lines are going in. So from them to get from one tree to another, an easy way across
they need that.
Is a power line, because they see a vine. What they don't see is the fact that they are then going to form a connection, which is going to be deadly for them.
Exactly.
And the whole family can go. And the whole families have been killed.
So taking down the trees and replacing them with man-made
power lines,
treacherous, dangerous power lines, how has this gotten to such an exacerbated level that that they're still putting these power lines up that way?
This is a legislative move. That this is a government has got to find a way. This is not, there's the last I was told there were 8 electric companies in this country. ESA is the largest. This has got to come from the very top level, which is ARICEP, that governs the energies here. And we've held meetings with top supervisors out of ESA in the past, and we said, we're losing the battle here. Can you please help us? But for everyone that was being covered, there was a new one going up uncovered. And so this was out of balance, and couldn't keep up. And what it needed is a mandate to say, if you need electricity, if you want electricity to your home, that's included. Don't put the cost on the government. The inclusion of that cost will go into the person who wants the electric.
Right. So it's the responsibility of the people that are actually coming in and building the homes.
And I do think another issue is lack of awareness. A lot of the people who are building the homes,
they just don't know.
Maybe to what their construction company is saying, or to what they're being advised, and they don't know that the electrocutions are an issue. And people don't, they see the power lines, they see howler monkeys walking on them, they go, oh, cute, a monkey. They don't make that connection.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, because there's so often, like, spending so much time in Costa Rica at this point, it's a very normal thing that the tourists, anyone that's on the street and sees a monkey, they're like, more fascinated about the monkey, and there's an absence of connection that they're actually on an unnatural thing that's a threat to their lives.
Right.
So it's like it should be more of like a, instead of like, wow. Like,
But then if we think about like, okay, so how do we address this issue outside of course, we need to go to the top and start really raising awareness. But if somebody is on the ground, what can they do? I guess like putting the wires underground itself, right? Like that would be, my goodness. Hello. Speaking of monkeys.
Sorry.
Ginger.
Hi, sweetheart.
Okay, we can't,
sweetheart.
No, it's okay, honey. She's our older, she's our alpha female from the past.
She's so
beautiful.
She's so, well, please get her some leaves and lettuce. She was Carlitos. He was the alpha male and she's the female alpha. When they were young, she was such a beautiful mantle and very strong. Whenever they'd hear anybody else coming, and another troop, she was out there. You could hear her first.
Wow.
Yeah. She's just aging like we do. Their little backs curve. They start losing their teeth. Their hair falls out. And they start losing weight. So we do. I keep her close. Like when she's free.
Yeah.
She goes with them. And even at night, she'll sit up on the branches. She'll sit up on the branch with Carlito, and sometimes he gets mad at her and will kind of nibble at her or something, and I hear her scream at him. She has that option to have cover.
Right.
She doesn't have to stay out. But she chooses to be with him because that was her mate.
Right. That's so sweet.
And they had babies together, so family. So
It's wonderful.
yeah. So the howlers are Sibu.
What a beautiful little intermission there. Of just no, that's okay. It's amazing. She just came and brought her energy. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah, she
please
does.
bring awareness to this. To you know, and just to go back to what we were saying. So, you know, one of the things that people can do is be a little bit more aware of how their, you know, appreciation of the jungle should also be keeping in mind the responsibility. So putting the wires underground, that's one way, right?
And ours are underground here.
It's amazing. And it's not that hard to do, is it?
No, it's a little bit more costly.
It's expensive, but it's worth it.
But again, that's the cost. You want to move into the jungle.
Right.
That's the cost you have to pay, right?
And for, say, the locals, like if you see some of the little local communities and you pass some of these roads, you'll see houses way back a little dirt road. Those lines are never insulated. So there's so many electrocutions going on that we're not even aware of, and they don't report it either.
Yeah.
So they can't afford it. But we need to know we could fundraise for that. You know, the community could fundraise. And what an amazing community it would be to say, you know, those who can afford it do for their own private, but those who can't will do the fundraising. Let us make this area a very safe place for all the animals to live.
The thing is, the fundraising is only a part of the issue, because then once you have the insulation material, not just anyone can put that on. Obviously, it has to be the electrical company, and actually getting the electrical company to come and install it is a whole other issue.
But that,
it's not a priority for
them.
That
again means going to the top, not just that particular company like Ise or Kopi Guanacaste is going to the top. And to me, that's the only place you're going to see a mandate.
And there's no, I mean, I tend to focus on like big business. Like power is a big business, especially in this country.
Right.
Is there, in your opinion, is there room in the profit margin for that to be a cost? Just not the underground, because that sounds a lot more expensive, but just the insulation to be a cost of having to put up power lines so that they can profit from the explosion of people coming to Costa Rica?
Well, see, I don't know what their financial status is, and we can find out. They're a public entity, so that should be public information. But again, I think for those who are buying properties and building businesses, put the cost on them, and then let ESA. No, they're the only ones who can install it. So give them that responsibility to install and purchase.
Especially in areas like Playa Palada and Playa Guiones, they are very affluent areas. There are lots of very luxury establishments. And I think a luxury experience should be all-inclusive.
Exactly.
Include preserving the nature around them.
The reason we're here.
Well, that's the thing. It's like people need to remember, again, like how we started, that connection to nature. Right? It's like you're here because you are escaping the concrete jungle and you're coming to the natural jungle. So it's like, let's remind each other why we're all here and why this place is so special, and let's
keep it that way.
Exactly. Let's preserve it. Which is amazing, at least to see what you're doing, like, and what everybody here on your team is doing. You guys are truly pouring your heart and soul into, and you're the only ones really in this area. Like, I haven't even seen that many.
Well, the International Animal Rescue, they are,
but they just came in, which is great, right?
Actually, it's going on 4 years, and
really?
They are located at the refuge right now, but they're trying to build their own center. And Brenda has been on for sure on the ground floor too, for all these years trying to help. And so, you know, to me, we want to work with IAR more in a synchronetic way to be to help each other. Whereas they want to do the rescues, that's fine. We're transitioning into taking care of ones with disabilities. And some of the ones we have are blind. Some are blind and deaf. Some have arms that have just one arm being amputated, and a part of their tail. We have some from the pet trade that were abused. We have one monkey, old guy who had an infected eye that had to be taken out and has cataracts. So it's like, how do you create an environment for the rest of their lives? And so that has been our transition into moving to take care of the ones with disability.
And actually, it takes a lot of time and energy to focus on wildlife with disabilities because we believe that if they can't survive in the wild, we need to do everything possible to bring the wild to them. That means giving them huge spaces, giving them enrichment, doing physical therapy where necessary.
The cleanliness and the quality of food, and we don't scrap. She helps me with my accounting, and she's always like yelling at me, "No, we can't afford that.
I'm like, Vicki, stop building habitats. We have to have the funding first."
No. We it's like, build it and they will come.
Yeah.
Build it and hopefully the money will come.
But it's amazing that you have such a wonderful team. Like, Becca, you're here as a volunteer, correct? And how long have you...
Fabian,
And Fabian, how many people do you have right now as volunteers?
So, like, our core team, there's 3. This is not including Vicki.
Okay.
Because Vicki, we don't kind of... she's like the main pillar.
She's the mother, and then the nucleus of it all. Yeah.
So core team, we have the 3 of us who've kind of been here for varying amounts of time, and then we have a volunteer team who come in from 1 month to 6 months, 6 months, and are all again really dedicated people who really believe strongly in helping the environment and helping the work that Vicki's doing, which sometimes isn't glamorous.
It's not. It's not glamorous.
Cleaning, it's chopping up
and
vegetables,
laundry and things like that. Yeah.
But it's what we need to
give them the best care that we can.
How long have you been here?
Me, I came to volunteer for 1 month, and it's now been 3 years.
No, wow.
Yeah, and I can't believe it.
I think coming here really opened my eyes up to... I had no idea about the electrocutions.
But you moved from London too.
I moved from London too.
To here.
It's completely different. And also it opened my eyes up because I wasn't aware of the electrocutions. I wasn't aware. And when I first came, we were still doing the rescues. We would still be receiving wildlife in with completely charged through, their bones sticking out. And it's so difficult to see something like that and walk away from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, you couldn't turn my back on that.
Of course. Wow.
There was a wonderful saying, I hope I get it right. It was by Robin, who wrote Braiding Sweetgrass. And she said, that we have a duty to live in harmony with each other and with all life. And it's true. And that would be a wonderful thing to live by. And I also, as a role model, of course, Jane Goodall and her saying, we're not the only, beings that have personalities and emotions and feelings. And she's, it's so true how, she's worked with the chimps and continues in her 80s. So I'm getting close. But
you actually remind me a lot of Jane.
Well,
there's just something about your energy. I mean, I've never met Jane Goodall personally, but we've seen her documentary.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of her work.
And just like the compassion and the passion that you have, like, it's very similar to her as well.
I met her when she came to speak at Country Day, and we took a little packet to hope for her to see and try to get some, guidance. And of course she was so busy, but we were able to, just to be able to see her and hear her. And she's very powerful.
When you speak about like stewardship, really, like
it is.
You guys are truly the stewards of the jungle here in Nosara. Like, it's a beautiful thing to witness. And I think that comes to connection to sentience. Like, then you speak about, the idea of the feelings and emotions and the relationship between other animals.
It's just not animals too. It's the trees. And I mean, if you know and have read about how the trees, their communication, their root systems, how they warn each other. I mean, what was a very popular book that came out? And
the Overstory?
Yeah, the Overstory.
The Overstory.
The Overstory.
Beautiful one about the trees and how they communicate.
Yeah, and how they saw people coming and going over decades and decades, and how it was just a very interesting perspective. And but it's true. I mean, they will, warn of another tree or something, and that's not good for them. And so, is to be able to not just, is to acknowledge and then to respect it. That combination, I think.
How do you teach that? Or how do you guide others to that realization?
Well, we try. We do educational visits 2 mornings a week. And it is a full focus on look at nature. We walk and we talk about some of the leaves and trees. And I even had one time someone goes, "Why do we have to learn about trees?" And I'm going, because you probably enjoy breathing fresh air. I didn't say it like that. I just, the trees they take in the carbon dioxide and give us oxygen. Their roots hold the soil. Look at places where they've been eliminated and the soil is gone, and the climate will change without the leaves causing the moisture in the air. And it's all one big connected cycle. It's just all a connection. And how to teach that. So I try it.
No, I know you do an excellent job. Like, we've taken the tour. The tour. If anyone's coming to
the bats are important.
Exactly. If anyone's coming to Nosara, I mean, it's a waiting list sometimes, I hear, because there's a.
But we only do it a couple
That's
mornings because we have to spend time with the animals too.
Yeah.
But it's an important tour. I loved it because we brought Julie.
My family was in town.
good.
Yeah. And actually, I remember when we came, and my niece, she watched that educational video, and it impacted her so much that she cried. She was very emotional to see the story of, these howlers and the journey they go through.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it made me really think, because I'm like, okay, something was planted in her mind. And she's going to live with that. And who knows, in 10 years, maybe that experience right there and that slight reconnection for her
To be a steward
for a moment
of the
maybe it'll inspire her to actually follow those footsteps, because her and many children out there, she's raised in a very city-like environment with the iPads and the screens and all of those things. So it's something we were talking about earlier as well. It's like for us, like Xavier being raised in the jungle, that's a big reason, because we want him to develop that beautiful connection that you were talking about in the beginning with nature.
Right.
But a lot of children don't have that even opportunity to build that experience. So how do, for me, I'm trying to understand, because if anyone's listening and watching this,
and they're in the city.
And they are in the city and they don't have an opportunity to move to the jungle like some people do.
Right.
How do we still teach something like that to the young generation?
We need to create a program.
Like a school program.
Yeah. I mean, let's create something like this. And no, there needs to be, there's so many little episodes. I keep thinking of rewriting the book again. I wrote Zoe, and I would love to write again the Howlers of Sibu, and just not just a journey, my journey, but their journey.
Right.
I have just never seen such strength, because when they are electrocuted or burned and they try to survive, I've never seen so much courage. And that also makes me, like, if I get hurt or bitten or something's, I don't feel well, it's like, okay, don't even go there. You're going to get better. You'll be fine. It's like, look at this poor little guy over here with his dislocated arms, or the guy who can't. I tell the volunteers, when you come, Salva is blind, is virtually almost 100% blind. I think he sees a little bit of light.
You can see like this much.
Yeah. And I say, I want you to just, one eye's gone, and the other has cataracts, and I want you to go like around and see what he's not seeing or what he does see.
Right.
And then the one that had an arm amputated, I want you to put your arm behind your back today, and let me see how you do.
So it's develop that connection again, to understand the idea of our relationship with the animals and sentience.
And also, I think it's more than just being able to read it in a book and see it in a screen. It's taking the practices as well to, even if you're in a city, appreciating the little things, like a crack in a pavement with a little plant growing
Coming up,
through.
that's very true. Yeah.
Think and stop and like really put yourself in those moments rather than just
Yeah.
letting it all pass you by.
Yeah, and maybe parents, it's like when you're making the decisions to make the conscious choice of the experiences for your children, but then at the same time you'll benefit as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're gonna go on vacation, will you go to, the typical all-inclusive something or the Disneyland here,
Right,
or
right,
will you go to the Grand Canyon?
right.
Or will
Yeah.
you go and try to sort of think about those, like each experience as sort of seeds being planted in the values of the young of
Yeah.
our children.
Right.
But also, I mean, if you don't have children, I think it applies because you're also planting seeds in yourself.
Right.
And if you want that deeper connection and to understand, I think there's an amazing connection we're hearing in every single episode we've shot so far. Every person has found their source with a connection to nature.
To nature.
Mhm.
That's
And it's
wonderful.
like consistently, whatever walk of life it is, everyone comes back to the same thing.
message.
They're where they are
Yeah.
because of something that connected them, usually earlier on in life, but in their path,
Uh-huh.
to a deep resonance with the earth and with our unity with that.
Right.
And that's like, to me, that's so special. So if we want to live a more conscious life and we want more out of our existence, then we need to pursue it. Like
Yeah.
we need to look for those opportunities, all of us listening, all of us here, and continuously have faith that those are worth more to our soul
Yeah.
than just the
And act on it.
experiential. And
It's
act.
just not,
Act
it's
on
to acknowledge, but to act. It is the
Mhm.
action too.
But also
care.
seek that experience of and connection of nature in the wild. Because one thing that I see, like some parents, like, oh, we're going to take our kids to the zoo.
What do you guys think of zoos? Honestly, it's a tough one, I know, for a lot of reasons.
I think it depends on what their intention is. I think if this is my personal opinion. I think some zoos are built more as a business. And yes, sometimes even as a non-profit, you have to think as a business because it's difficult to
Right.
stay open and there are huge overheads to cover.
Mhm.
But I think sometimes some places they care more about, oh, what animal is going to attract more people rather than, okay, what actually best serves the animals in our care.
Mhm.
Right.
And I think
Intention's interesting.
exactly, it's the intention. I think there are some zoos which are amazing and they really care about conservation and the planet and are helping. And then there are some which are built and designed to be tourist attractions.
Mm-hmm.
I have a harder time.
I do
with
too.
zoos.
I mean, if it was a wild animal, it should be wild. But there's so much animal trade in the United States. There's so many people, either breeding or trying to breed, lions and tigers, and you can buy almost anything.
Right.
And that is so incredibly sad. I mean, we talk about the wildlife here, but it's worldwide. Unfortunately, we're losing so many species, and people don't realize that connection of each species and that hierarchy of what it had provided for us to even survive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think
It's interesting because I don't discount. I think I spoke a little too abruptly on because I do have a harder time because it's more of an ethical thing about intention.
Well,
It's so important
yeah.
about intention, and I don't know where that line gets drawn, but somewhere in the middle and closer to sanctuaries and much further from zoos,
Yeah.
I find that I have to draw a line to say children can experience animals at the sanctuaries. Children can go on YouTube and look and learn. They can be taught about the freedom and the beauty of a free animal in such a deep and intrinsic way that I have a really hard time. And I went to a lot of zoos as a child, and I think it helped me with my connection somehow.
Yeah.
But I'm an empath. Like,
It's
not
like when
everyone
you see
has
a
that.
tiger in the cave, like in a very small enclosure. You're like, this is a big wild animal. Like
how
this-
horrible. That's the rest of his life.
exactly, it's like
prison.
it's a prison.
Prison. It is,
And
you
that's
see this-
sometimes, to me, to be honest, I personally see it like it's much more like a prison to a lot of these animals. It's interesting. We were in San Jose right before Xavier was born. And, we were trying to find something to do and again, find the ways to reconnect to nature in a big
San
city.
Jose.
And we found this one park that had this conservation like sanctuary. We're like, wow, this is really cool.
Sounds good.
So we went on this walk, and literally there was animals there. There was even like coyotes and deers. This was a glorified zoo. You know
Well, it
what I
wasn't
mean? Like
glorified. I think
it
because
was a
of the
zoo.
law of no zoos here.
in Costa
I think they
Rica.
just changed the name.
Oh, I don't think there's actually a law against zoos
Oh.
here.
No.
It's
Instead
but
of-
it has to be animals from within the country. Is that right?
Oh,
I
interesting.
think so. But it's interesting kind of that you say the link between zoos and sanctuaries, because I mean, for us, obviously we spoke earlier a little bit about our educational visits, and we do the educational visits, but for us, again, it's a huge line that we don't want to cross, because we do them 2 mornings a week, and that's simply because we have to. Without them, financially, we would not survive. Even with 2 mornings a week, that is not raising enough to cover our monthly outgoings. We still have a huge deficit to cover.
Right.
But for us, we feel personally 2 mornings a week, if we go any more than that, then as
It's a
Vicki said, we're
compromise.
taking away time from the
Yeah.
animals, but also are we opening up to becoming more like a zoo? We don't want to do that.
No,
And also,
that's-
we
See
have
you
people
guys,
say
yeah.
to us, okay, you're doing an educational visit. Part of it is a walk. Can we just come and see the monkeys? And we say no, because we think a huge part of the
Our
experience
message.
is learning it, is
Yeah.
learning
It's
why we
beautiful.
have to exist,
Yeah.
what issues the animals are facing, why they are here. These animals that they're coming to see are here for a reason. And we don't think you should just be able to just come and be like, okay, there's a howler monkey. You should be like, okay, there's a howler monkey who's missing an arm. Why is he missing an arm? What happened to him to bring him here?
The story, the full picture.
Exactly.
And it's 2 things. It's intention, which we talked about earlier, but then also your fundamental principle is to help. And you're bringing people in to learn. And so I wouldn't even put it in the same arena as a zoo. Like, this is like, come and see what these, in my opinion, saints, like people of doing high valued, beautiful work are doing. And that exposure, that creates an opportunity for a connection that's so important. Like, I saw like her niece and her nephew come, and like the difference
felt
in the
so
way
bad.
they
She
saw
cried.
things. And it was
No, but it's
She saw Nambi.
she did,
you
but it
know,
was important
suffering
because
and dragging, and then how she walked again.
Yeah.
She started to walk again.
yeah, no, it's important, and it's important for children to understand and to learn,
it is.
even from a
I
young
agree.
age. You know,
and that seed could plant. Like, it's interesting. You came from London and you thought you'd be here for a month. How did that come together for you?
I mean, for me, at the time, we didn't really have very many volunteers, and
We didn't.
no.
Okay.
And
But
at
what
that time,
brought
no.
you from London?
Kind of had just reached enough, like with my work. I loved what I did at the time, but I was very much like there was quite a toxic person in the work environment, and I needed a break from it to fall back in love with my work again. So my idea was just take a 3-month sabbatical, and for me, I don't like just traveling. I want to be doing something, and working with animals was a no-brainer because it's always been my passion my entire life. And I came here and it clicked. And I think a huge part of that is Vicki, because you are a person who is, you kind of light that fire in people, in my opinion. Like, you have so much passion. Like, we have these WhatsApp groups that connect us to other NGOs, and daily we're receiving from like Tamarindo, from up north, from all over the place, photos, videos, electrocutions, stories. And I see how it would be so easy for Vicki to just get up a wall and become protected to it and not it not affect her. But I see how every single injury, every single death impacts her so hugely. And you carry it with you. You carry everything you see, everything you hear with you.
And that's the difference. Besides just talking about it and seeing it, and that you saw it happen.
We did. We saw. We were working at a co-work space, and out of nowhere,
we were on the balcony at the co-work space, just doing our thing, and it was probably this time of day, and kind of the sun was coming down.
We were actually on a call. I think we were on a Zoom call with somebody,
and over the computer screen, we heard.
It was just like
a bolt of lightning.
Yeah. And we were like,
sparks flew, and I looked up.
And all I saw was just something black.
Yeah. And then, of course, we're like, huh? Because this isn't usual.
Right.
This isn't normal, and this shouldn't be happening. So
No.
it's actually like a glitch in the matrix in a way.
Right.
And so I remember we were on the call, and it clicked what it was. And it was just like, close the laptop. Like literally
Yeah.
calls
Run.
over,
Yeah.
and we ran out, and no one else, which was so weird.
That was the strange thing, is that, like we were saying earlier, it's like nobody else in the area like either noticed it, heard it. I don't know what it was, but it was like it seemed like we were the only ones like really like scrambling, like, oh my god, what happened?
But but maybe it's because we've been here, and because
Yeah.
we know, and we've been involved in conversations like this. So my brain, rather than being like, that was weird, which I think it normally would have, just been like, oh,
What
it
happened?
must have been like a
Right.
short. But I
Mm.
knew because of this.
Yeah.
And then,
Right.
I mean, we went out, and
It was too late. The monkey was
Yeah.
instantly
Yeah.
dead, and then I kind of panicked, and I called you. I was like,
I know,
Vicki, what
I
do
know,
we
I
do?
know, I
It's
know.
like,
just-
I know.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you panic, and we waited for the wildlife rescue to come, and they came, and they were telling us like it's because this transformer wasn't covered, and we're like, well, whose responsibility is it? Well, they're like, well, the businesses around should take that responsibility, but legally they're not
No.
required.
No, they're not-
So
it's
it
no
really
mandate.
comes to their heart,
But it's
you
like,
know?
but it's really hard to get to a person's heart if they don't experience
Yeah.
it. And it's like,
Yeah, because
But
we
why
were
wait
like,
to the
But
monkeys.
I-
That's
well,
just it.
exactly, and that's
like
why,
a
like-
neighbor here. You
and
know, he said, well, you
It-
know, he said, I asked him, please cover, please cover. Well, he said nothing had happened for many years, and then I saw him one day, and I looked at his face, and I knew. He goes, "Yeah, one got electrocuted. Do you want to come get the body?" And
It's-
I said, "Yeah." It's like, why are we waiting?
Why are we
waiting until more
Yes.
are endangered or vulnerable? Why is the government waiting?
and
something I wanted to ask you, because I don't really know, but you were saying how like the population of monkeys is declining, right? Like, do we have an actual number of like how, like, what is the situation statistically?
There's a biologist that's working with the Salve Monos to the north. It's Ronald Sanchez, and he did a study which concluded in 2007, and I showed that on the script when I do the educational visit. And we have some in decline of 60, 70%. That was in 2007.
Wow.
And it does. That's what I'm saying. This is urgent. This
declined not to 60 or 7, but by 60
that
or
much
70.
had declined. Yes.
And yet the howler monkeys currently, they are still on the IUCN red list. They're still classified as vulnerable.
But why are we waiting?
Why wait till they become endangered?
Exactly.
They are on the way from vulnerable to endangered at this rate because
I mean, at a
of the sheer volume of deaths.
Mm-hmm.
That's
with a country who takes pride in the wildlife here, then it needs to protect the wildlife. And I know there's so many other problems that the hospitals, the schools, some don't even have books or even a school. Some are teaching under tarps. My friend was here this morning and said she had a fundraiser to build a school in Oceanal. So when you see those priorities, the animals are not going to be a priority.
People think about people before they think about the wildlife.
right.
Or the government here will.
Yeah, because animals don't vote.
No.
No, but the people who care for about animals,
Exactly.
we need to vote,
need to
and we
vote.
need to do that, and we need to have more people, and that would be our mission too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe we can put some links for writing to the government, writing to the tourist
Right,
board.
Right.
We did this in a video of ours earlier, and we got
Okay.
a lot of people writing us back in our
Okay.
community saying,
Yeah.
I wrote to ISE and I wrote to the tourist board. So
Good.
on this, I think we'll add these links to the
Mhm.
descriptions
Okay.
everywhere that this is
And
going.
maybe whoever might watch this or listen to, maybe they have some connection to somebody
Exactly.
at the higher level, the
Mhm.
government level, that can at least
Right.
bring it up.
Right.
You know, like, let's talk about this issue, because this is concerning all of us. If we lose these species, these monkeys, it's going to affect our entire system, the jungle. Like,
Well,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
And if you have to frame it in their words or their reality, if they're if they're severed from source,
Yeah.
maybe it's going to affect the tourism.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, this is why people come. Like,
It's
they
for
come.
to
this
capitalize
experience.
on the tourists that love that come for the nature, not just surfing or yoga, but for nature. There is a huge amount of people that come for that. And again, they do produce a lot of sustainable energy, but not delivering it sustainable.
And I do want to emphasize that this isn't just an issue unique to Nosara or unique
Yes.
to Guanacaste.
No.
This is an issue throughout Costa Rica, and every single wildlife sanctuary you will find, rescue center throughout Costa Rica, is battling the same issues.
Yeah. And so just even bringing everybody, trying to share the information, like even bridge building, it's a Band-Aid, but at least we were talking yesterday and meeting with Tina, and we were looking at where the next development's scheduled for, and we were looking at where can we put bridges to create corridors for literally the monkeys to leave to go in the mountains.
Right.
Because it's just not safe in Sierra Nevada anymore. And this is something which is such a passion project for us, but it's so difficult. We would love to just spend all of our time working on that, but we also have a sanctuary to run.
Yeah,
and
you guys
actually
have a lot of
huge,
things
it's
to take
not
care
just
of.
even that, it's purely financing the sanctuary. Like purely just every month is a battle just to break even and to cover our outgoings. And so it is difficult. Like, we're not doing as much as we would like to towards the main issue of electrocution, simply because we're just trying to keep our heads above water, basically.
But what you guys offer outside of just the tours, like the educational tours that you do twice a week, there's other ways that people can also support you. Like, there's something...
Adopt a monkey.
Exactly.
As Adopt a Monkey.
That's
Even if
such a beautiful thing.
could do a recurring donation each month, even if it's as little as $10 a month, like, just knowing we have that consistent amount coming in.
But when you adopt a monkey, what is, like, how does that work? Because I know even some kids might be like, that'd be a great gift for a child. Hey, we adopted you a monkey at a sanctuary. Like, what does that actually entail?
We have 3 levels, and it's a one-off payment, which then gives you an adoption valid for 1 year. So the first level is the Star Supporter, which is $50, and you get a personalized certificate, which you can do as a gift. You can have someone else's name, so it makes a beautiful gift for someone. You also get a fact sheet about the monkey, like why it's here, what their personality type is, and a photo which you can use as a screensaver or print it out, frame it, whatever you want. Then the second level is Primate Protector, where you get the same 3 things, but also every 3 months, we send you an email, a special personal little email with an update about what's been happening in that monkey's life for the last 3 months, complete with photos. Then the last stage is the Howler Hero, and as well as every 3 months you get a special video of the monkey, which really photos don't show them. Like, you really have to see the video to see how they interact and how their personality just shines through. Because I'm using the word personality a lot because they have so much personality. You ask us about any single one of the monkeys in our care, and we can say, oh, they're like this, and they're like this, and they have such similar traits to people. It's hard not to see that.
That's so amazing. We were just talking about it also before, how you have, like, there's like mom monkeys, because I was saying how, you know, I have a nanny that brings Xavier to the beach, and all the nannies come together every morning, and all the kids get to interact and socialize, and the similarity that you were saying.
It's the same that happens. We see that the moms, because there is a troop. It's like, you know, they're a social troop, and they come, and they'll all be coming out of the jungle, and then the parents are just resting. Okay, kids, go play. And so the kids are all playing with each other, and they're having fun, and you just see them doing things that intentionally that are fun for them, and like jumping from a branch and swinging down. And then when the moms are ready to go, everybody just packs back up, and then they go back into the jungle, another area. So every time I hear somebody say that, I'm going, oh, yeah, monkeys do that.
That's
howlers
so
do that.
beautiful.
So,
I think it's wonderful to just highlight these adoption initiatives, because, you know, there's so many times of year that we're motivated by our culture to give. And we live in a time of extreme materialism. So I think knowing a lot of people in our community and in our world that are connected to things that we do we're all striving to be better humans. We're all, I think that we have, like, the commonality is nothing to do with, you know, gender or race or economic situation. I think it's all like, I find a commonality that we all want to be better. Like we want to be just like, in whatever that means to us, like live a richer life and experience something deeper.
Yeah.
And I think I could not emphasize those 3 or 4 options enough as a wonderful opportunity to give a gift that then plays into, the systematic, like, oh, you have to give something at Christmas, but it's something so rich and valuable. And it teaches that whoever receives it through what you send them, like such a deep intrinsic, it's more seeds. We're talking about planting seeds everywhere.
Right.
It's such a beautiful gift. It's such a
Yeah.
beautiful opportunity to give, to teach, and then to have some, like, here, a benefit that's so rich. First, like when you say keeping my head above water, like that's what you guys are doing, like that's crushing. Because what you guys are doing here, like, we should, like, you're here every day. And if you give a donation once, that's wonderful. But that donation helps for that month. Like, even like you said, on a reoccurring basis for a year with an adoption of a monkey, like that's the gift that keeps giving, but not just like it supports you. Because we're here today, we're going to go away, we're going to get all caught up in all kinds of stuff in Boa Beautiful. And no matter what we're doing at any time for the next 365, we can think of Sibu, and I know that you're here.
Yeah.
And that is so noble, and that is so important. And I think, like, I get teared up. It's just like,
you too.
it's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, there is no other way ever.
Well, and that's why we're here,
do
because
it,
we like to give an opportunity, like, for you guys to just have this platform for a moment,
Thank you.
and to say, like, to shed light into your plight,
And to show
And
people that you are here and you're doing this beautiful, incredible work that other people just step away from, because not a lot of people can do what you do.
No.
And it's another thing that we were saying in the beginning. It's like that compassion fatigue, right? Like after a while, if you've seen what you've seen, like there's gonna be a moment where you're just like, I can't handle this.
There's a lot of people that step out.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. But you, like,
Your
you have your
resilience.
resilience, Vicki, and like you are here and you're showing up, and like this is your life, 24/7, and that is so admirable and so.
I just think it's
inspiring.
just normal for me. I don't think of anything special about it. It is just what I do.
But it's also, like some people I find romanticize about, I mean, we even do sometimes, like, oh, it'd be so amazing to one day create a sanctuary for animals in this land. But it's like, you don't actually, like, the idea of it is beautiful, but what goes into
oh my gosh,
that
it is so much.
So
it
much.
Is, beyond.
And the bureaucracy as well.
That's what I mean.
Them.
People don't, you see this, but you don't see all the work that has to go into, like, just the maintenance, to build it, to fund it, to bring in people, to handle the people, to it is really, the maintenance of the trucks, like the infrastructure. There's so much. And I know that's what the other sanctuaries or rescue centers trying to, just deal with right now. And I understand that.
Right.
There's also something I have in my window, and it says, find joy in the simple things.
Yeah,
and it's just in my window, and every time I go in and out of the door, I see it, and I do, and I get really excited if I see something, like, I don't know, maybe bought a piece of bread or it did something. I don't know. It could be
I'm laughing
simple.
because literally we'll be in the middle of a meeting and, like, we'll maybe be out here because this is kind of like our little office
Meeting
area.
place.
We'll just stop and she'll just go, look, have you seen that leaf? Have you seen
Do you see the
how this?
of that or the color? And don't miss that. Don't miss it, And I almost think we should every day put something around the sanctuary and ask the volunteers, okay, there's something hidden, not hidden, but there's something I want you to see what I put out special, just to be more observant and just appreciative, I guess, of everything. I don't want to go to Mars. I'm not finding that very attractive. We've got so much here, and I guess the Earth will put up with us as long as we.
And that's important, right?
Yeah,
like the idea.
We went into, what is it, 8 billion people.
Yeah.
And how much can the Earth?
Exactly.
So I think we need to look at those things too, and take care of the Earth too, in that respect. And crosses all borders. When I say that, as far as nationality, religion, and all of that, to look at what the Earth is giving us, air and water, and it's amazing, the greenery, and we can grow food, and the rivers and the oceans to keep them clean. It provides all these gifts and everything we need.
Yeah.
And we just need to,
reconnect to that.
Yeah.
to connect to that
Reconnect to it and nurture it and protect it.
and protect it for
Yeah,
sure.
I think that's it.
That's interesting. I mean, if there was a message to put to the world, what is your underlying message?
Just what I said. Yeah, is to why, it's just so important to just stop and take a breath and see, is your air clean? Is your street, to look around you and say, is this how you want to live? Is this how you want to bring your children? And we make a choice, like you said earlier, every minute we can make a different choice. Every day we can make a different choice. And that choice would be to not only realize, but to act and say, I do really like this place a lot. I like the air to breathe, and I want to have clean water, and I know that's hard for people that live in these big cities and things, but it's on every level, and it's also overpopulation, and to acknowledge that. And
I think even in a big city, you can still see the beauty in the everyday, and even in the actions of people around you. If you're surrounded by concrete, you can see those small interactions and
find the joy in the simple things,
and the beauty.
right.
Yeah.
That's why I say that every day.
Yeah. That's such a powerful statement, because it's true. Like, we don't, it's nice to be in a beautiful jungle, but that can be found no matter where you are, just from an interaction with your child or nature, or, feeding a stray dog on the street and getting joy out of just being compassion.
Helping an older person, or a little young person who's feeling lonely.
Yeah.
Every time the visit ends, I said, please, you go home. I want you to help. See who you can help. And I said, what if everybody helped just a tiny bit? What a different world we live in.
Yeah.
And there is, when you were saying what the message is, like, we grow up with this, this illusion of big things, big houses, boats, the newest of everything. We grow up with that illusion that that's going to bring us happiness. And it's not until sometimes you get older, or if you live to be older, and you get to have this that's not what's going to bring you happiness. It's not going to be that. You'll never be satisfied with that.
It's insatiable.
Look at all this. Look at your closets. Look under your bed. Look at all the places that you bought stuff, and now it's, okay, what else can I buy? What else can I do? And what if that was shifted into caring about people and growing really good food, and helping to invent ways to purify the air, or make cars or transportation, better, all those things. There's bring out the creativity, and let's make it a better world.
And ask ourselves, I think, individually, how can we be more in service of compassion, of connection, of protection?
And not to get overwhelmed as well, because it can be so easy to be like, yes, but there's so much that can be done, so why bother do anything? But every small, no matter how small, every small gesture or move like that matters. You don't have to be out there changing the world
just
and
small things,
righting all the wrongs. You can just be doing little steps at a time, and that is helping.
And don't give up hope.
Right.
Just keep reading more messages about the resilience of people and what they've gone through, and different, cultures and things, and how they've been persecuted, and all this. And yet there is still that deep hope to continue and to bring it around. So I think that's part of what drives us too, is the hope that we will find a solution to the electrocution, and to finding it more sustainable, and bringing that, I guess, that love of reconnecting to nature.
That's amazing.
And how we're part of it.
Yeah, we are a part of it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
That is such a wonderful note, I think, to start winding out.
Yeah.
That's so perfect. It's just
thank
like,
you so
Thank
much.
you, guys.
Yeah, we are so grateful
oh my goodness.
for you guys, and for your care and continued care,
Yeah, you've
because
supported
you
us,
came once and you didn't forget about it. kept it with you, and I think that's so special.
We will keep coming back.
We will coming
Okay,
back.
good.
We come back. This is the third or fourth.
Yeah.
There'll be
Yeah.
8 or 9. It will just. It's part of. It has to be.
Yeah.
I think it's a renewal process, and I think it's important for everyone to find the things and make the conscious decision to engage with them that remind you
Yeah.
that the little things matter, the support you can give people matters, and the love that you share matters.
Right.
Consistently renewing over and over, and that's why, like, to us, coming back matters.
Yeah.
Not just to here, but to ourselves, to our source, to ourselves on our mats every day. Like, that's the lesson. It's like,
And our contribution in ways we can provide what we've built for your service as well. Because maybe, you know, whoever listens to this, maybe somebody will come and volunteer for a month
Yes.
or two.
Great. And
know?
say for the next 5 years.
Exactly. Maybe that'll happen. You know, or maybe
someone-
somebody will adopt a monkey or just
Yeah,
decide
yes.
to, you know, share a
Yes.
donation from their heart. Like any way that people can just recognize what you guys do here and feel like, well, this is my way of just contributing as a form of gratitude,
But we
whichever
are
way they
looking for
decide.
help, too.
Well,
Yes.
that's
But
great.
it's
So
a
people
special
can
person,
people
you
can
know?
apply on.
Yeah.
Is it on the website
Yes.
or?
Website, exactly.
Just-
Everything you need.
We're
all on
looking
the
for
website.
long term, just like you don't care about the weather. Oh, it's just rain, it's warm, and you
Yeah.
don't care about bugs. There's bugs. We're living in their
Of
home.
course, yeah.
there's so many people, I think, through COVID that have reassessed what they're doing with their energy and their time.
Mhm.
And I think that things like this are often perfect opportunities to be like, I need to shift.
Yeah.
So shifting, and it can be shifting to come and help full time, or it can be just shifting to make more conscious choices.
Yeah.
But all of us have opportunities every day to start again, to renew.
Yes,
And I
like
think,
that.
this is wonderful. This is a perfect open door. I'm just
Exactly.
saying,
Yes, it
it's a
is.
perfect open door. Anyone out there, if you're
Yeah.
if you're looking for a deeper purpose, like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
This
a
is-
great opportunity and
help.
experience, I think,
Yeah.
too. Because you guys also offer, like, it doesn't have to be a 3-4 month commitment. It can be.
But that'd be great. And I say that because there are so many little details, and
Right.
just being so. We do really want to focus on people who really
Are
do have a
committed.
passion and
Yeah.
really want to try to make a difference, and that's a little bit longer term
Yeah.
because, and again, the training
Mhm.
it's not rocket science,
So
but it
really,
is
like the minimum is 1 month.
1 month.
Mhm.
Okay.
But
That's
That's
great.
great.
That's
But make it
amazing.
longer.
And the minimum is $1 as well.
Yeah.
So, let's just whatever. It's all
Yeah.
beautiful.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
thank you guys.
Thank you
you
guys so
so
much for this
Susie.
opportunity
This
to
has been
chat,
us.
connect. It's been beautiful.
It's been so wonderful.
Yeah.
I teared up 3 times. 3 times. That's
Aw.
unbelievable. Oh my
Oh, you
goodness.
beat Vicki.
Yeah. I'm sure I have more.
Oh, thank you guys.
Yeah,
All right.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
And I guess that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Wonderful.